In 5, 4, 3.
It's recording already, sweetie.
Hi, welcome to our game show game. We were asked to do a video about board games, and I, of course, wanted to teach Pandemic.
I'm going to interrupt you real quick. I'm Nancy. He's Matt, in case you don't know. We're the Craveys. Board games are kind of our thing.
So I was going to teach Pandemic. And the reason I was going to teach Pandemic was, well, you know, there's the whole thing going on. But more importantly, is it is a co-op game, which a lot of people, if you don't play a lot of board games, you think of Monopoly, where there's just one winner. This, you all win or lose together. You could play with 1, 2, 3, 4 people. You can play by yourself. There's a great app version of it. Fairly easy to get if you're out at Target, Walmart, Amazon. Maybe in bad taste.
And nobody really wants to watch us play a board game for however long. Really, the only reason we would watch those videos if you want to actually learn how to play the game, and they're not fun otherwise.
No.
Unless it's Will Wheaton. Will Wheatons are fun.
Yeah, that's true. So what we did instead, we decided to come up with a list of, 5 games, if you are not used to playing board games. 5 games that are fairly easy to get into.
Not real complicated. You know, it's something that if you've played other games, they're pretty easy to. They're kind of entry level games.
All right, so we got 5 each. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and as you can see behind us, we have many more games. But these are just, if you haven't played, these are some kind of fun ones. So you got yours ready? You want to get started?
Let me start. Okay. So Ticket to Ride is one that we started with years and years ago. It's a railroad building game. The object is to be the first or to connect as many cities according to your tickets. Mechanics are really simple. There's not a lot of, you're competing to win, but it's not cutthroat competition. Well, unless it's us, yeah. And it's not too simple though that it doesn't feel like you're accomplishing something. But it's one that's pretty easy to learn.
Also, a cool thing about Ticket to Ride, since all the destinations are kept secret until the end, you don't really know who won until the end of the game. Like Monopoly, there's usually a runaway player who you know and everybody else is having a bad time. Ticket to Ride, you really don't know who won until the very last turn.
Yeah, so it's not one that you get frustrated halfway through the game because you know there's no way you're going to catch up. You could come out the winner at the end without realizing it.
True. All right, good pick there. So, Forbidden Desert. There's actually a series of these. This is another one of the co-op games. There's Forbidden Desert, Forbidden Island, and Forbidden Planet?
Sky.
Forbidden Sky. And these are all co-op, and they're very cool, steampunky, and basically wherever. I like this one. This one's, I think, maybe the most accessible. You're working on a team with 3 other people. So there's 4 of you. You crash into the desert, and you have to find the pieces of your flying machine and escape before the sandstorm covers everything. Very cool. And after everybody's turn, the sandstorm dumps more sand, and you have to find the pieces which are hidden, and it's a random where they're hidden because there's not really a board. It's just a little tiles, and yeah, it's a lot of fun.
And again, it's cooperative, so it's not, if you're not one who likes competition, cooperative games are a nice way to go with board games, and so you're all working and talking through the game, so there's a lot of communication too. So it's not just you're all sitting looking at your own hand. Okay, another one that I really like is Carcassonne. This is one that I had at my elementary school when I was doing a game club with my 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders, and the kids really like this one. The mechanic is a tile laying game. So all the different games have different mechanics. This one, you're pulling tiles and you're trying to build a kingdom. All the players are building the kingdom together, but you are claiming cities, claiming monasteries to earn points. So this one's a little bit more competition to it because depending on what tiles you pull, depending on where your competitors, where they lay their tiles, it might be in a spot that you were trying to claim. But this is one I rarely win, but I still like to play it, which is a little unusual for me. So, and it's also, but it's a pretty simple mechanic to learn.
One of the things that I like about this game, and there's several games like this and Zorro, are when you're done with the game, you have created something really cool to look at. In this case, it's like a map of this French countryside littered with castles and roads and monasteries, and it's different every time.
That's Carcassonne.
My next choice is a fairly simple one. It's Splendor. I actually picked this up at clearance on Target. At Target, you can find this one pretty much anywhere. And in this one, we are all jewelers. And it's simple. There's a grid of cards, and you spend these jewels to and they're very heavy and clicky and wonderful weight.
Poker chips.
Yeah, like poker chips. And you'll spend these in order to buy merchants, and then with those merchants, you can have visitors come and collect points, and you play until like 15 points. So each game's only like 20-30 minutes, and you just get that fun clicky sound. Fairly simple. You can figure this one out within just a few minutes.
And the other thing about this game and some other games, there's apps for it too. So if you can't, and most of the apps, if you haven't played it before, they have a nice tutorial to work yourself through. So Splendor has an app, Ticket to Ride and Carcassonne and Pandemic all have apps, so that you could find them on Android or iOS.
All right, now Splendor.
Okay, this is a fun, light one. I like the steampunk theme, so dastardly dirigibles. You're all competing to build a blimp, basically a dirigible, and your dirigible will gain you more points if it has all the different cards have different kind of steampunky themes. And so you have a game board, a paper board that you're building your dirigible on, and each section is named something different. Hey,
it's our son Isaac. Come on over.
Oh, he loves playing games with us.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But your dirigible will earn you more points if the little icon at the top of the card is repeated throughout your ship. So you can swap cards out. There are cards that let you kind of sabotage your competitor. This plays, I think, about 4 people tops, but it's a good 2-player game. We're always looking for games that can be played well with 2 players, since our teenager does not like to play with us.
This is the Gilded Dynamator, just to give you an idea of kind of the steampunky mishmash fun words and art. Oh, the humanity!
So anyway, so this is one that it's a light game. It's quick. It doesn't take long. So some of the games we have literally take hours to play. This is not one of those. And it's just a different kind of theme that I kind of get into.
All right. Excuse me. Our next game is one of the first ones we bought. We bought on the recommendation of Will Wheaton and Tabletop. And it is one of the favorites at her elementary school.
Kids love this one.
This is called Smash Up. And Smash Up, pretty simple. The basic rules are very simple. On each turn, you may play one of your minions, and you may play one action. And that's as simple as it gets. Now, where it gets complicated is each of the minions and actions have different abilities and can kind of piggyback on each other. But where this game really works is you get to create this insane army, and you get to pick 2 different factions. So, for example, you could have ninjas, you could have princesses, you could have ninja princesses, or pirates, or robots, or time travelers, or cats, and tricksters like leprechauns and fairies, and unfortunately they're all mixed up here. My Little Ponies, or pony fighter things. They are insane. Ghosts and steampunk, again, is one of the factions you can use to combine. Have really cool, great art. Lots
of expansion, so it's a game that you can expand on. and you buy new cards for, and really the kids, if you have kids, this is a game that they really, really like. And it is a game too that there is a lot of player interaction, because there are cards that you play on yourself, but there's cards that you play on other people to affect what they can do.
Yeah, and so you'll play your armies, and each of the armies will play on a base, and whoever captures the base gets the points. And I guess it plays to like 20 points.
It's a lot of fun. The artwork is really cool. 4 players, so you don't need a big group. I would say it's better with more than 2 people than just 2 people playing together. But the kids, when I had that at my game club at school, that one was always out and being played.
Yeah.
Okay. My next one is a gorgeous game called Lotus. This is a simple card game, and what you're doing is you are growing, building flowers. And depending on how many of your cards are in the flower, when it's completed, you get points for that. And it is just a beautiful game. And that's something a lot of game people talk about, is the artwork in the games, because the detail that goes into some of these. But everybody gets a deck of cards, and they're all the same, but they have petals for different flowers. And so you put the petals together, and there's a grid to show you how to lay the cards down to make your flower. This one, then there's some other pieces that go with it to kind of give you some advantages, help you do a couple different things in the game. It's not hard to learn. It's another really quick game. So if you're not one who wants to sit down for an hour, you don't have 2 hours to play a game, this is a nice one. And it's really pretty. We found this one at a game convention a couple years ago, and it's one we've shared with our family, with some friends. That's been really popular.
So speaking of convention, you remember conventions when large groups of people would get together and
we don't do
like touch each other and breathe on each other and shit. This was also one we got at that same convention. We went to a little workshop where they taught us 4 or 5 different games really quickly. And this was one I had seen before. It's called King Domino. There's also a Queen Domino, which I understand is similar. It's sort of a sequel. This is a fun game. It plays up to 4 people, but you can play with 2 very easily.
Yeah, again, 2-player games. We're always on the hunt for good 2-player games. So most of these are good 2-player games.
So in this game, you're going to be playing these dominoes and building a kingdom around your little castle. And the kingdom has to fit certain dimensions. In this case, it has to be 5 by 5. It can't be bigger than 5 by 5. And at least one of the domino sides has to match. Now, some of the dominoes have these little crowns. And at the end of the game, after you've built your piece, you multiply the size of the area times the number of crowns. You add it up. Math, yeah. Pretty simple. And a neat drafting. Drafting is where you pick your pieces. It's a neat drafting mechanic. So if you get a super strong piece one turn, you're going to have to pick later on the next turn. But it's a lot of fun. King Domino, and this one is not going to be expensive. Maybe $20 on Amazon.
Yeah, and again, so easy to learn. Doesn't take a lot of time. So if you have kids who are younger, they could probably pick it up too.
I would like to say, I know we've had like fantasy and kingdom and medieval times and monsters and flying machines, and there's so many exciting, really sexy, fun themes that just you can explore your imagination with. And I think, Nancy, what's your next game? What's the theme of your next game?
Quilting.
Quilting. Oh.
So I'm showing this one. This is not one I'm showing for groups. This is a 2-player version. It's another tile laying game. And it is one of our favorite 2-player games, and we like a lot of games by the creator of this one, Uwe Rosenberg. But I wanted to show this one because there is what's called a roll and write version of Patchwork that can play up to 6 people. Both of them are very fast games.
Patchwork Doodle.
Yeah. So instead of using tiles to lay out a quilt, you are drawing your quilt and using cards to determine what shape your pieces will take. And then as you draw them, you have to distinguish them. You can either use different color pens or pencils, or you have to draw a pattern inside of it. We've been playing this one a lot more recently than we have the tiling patchwork. It's fun. It's, you can play a larger group. It's not real. And again, all of these that we're showing in this video are really easy to learn. They're accessible for families who have kids. But this one is just, I don't know. I like this one a little more, I think, than the 2-player tiling version.
This one, if you liked the game Tetris, if you played a lot of that,
Yes.
this is a perfect game for you because it's not quite as much pressure, but it's still planning, and you can flip the pieces and put them in different positions. And so if you like Tetris, Patchwork, and also Patchwork has a really good app.
Yeah, it does. Okay.
All right. So my last in the simple category is another one, and there are at least 3 of these that I know of. This is the first one. It is called Azul, and this is a beautiful game. If you like the what are the things with the grids?
Mosaic tiles.
No. The things in the newspaper with the numbers and not crossword puzzles,
Sudoku.
Thank you. It's kind of like Sudoku, but you get to play. You're building this tile pattern, and you could. There's 2 sides, so you could play it 2 different ways. But again, I was talking earlier about the feel of the clicky. Oh, listen to that, yeah.
And it has such a pretty bag. I love the bag.
That is a great bag. But these are the tiles that you're going to play with. And
they're not candy.
They're not. I found out you do not eat these. They may look like Starbursts. They are not. And you will take them. This is also a neat mechanic. There's going to be all of these little, look like coasters. And on each coaster there are 4 tiles. And when you pick all of one color from that coaster, and all of the rest go in the middle. Now, in the middle, there's a penalty tile. So you could pull from the middle, but if you do, the first one who does that has to pull the penalty tile. And everybody's draws until all the tiles are done. You score for that round, and you move on to the next round. It sounds a little more complicated. Again, once you've played it, by the 3rd turn, you're like, I get it now. And it is a ton of fun.
Yeah, it's very different than a lot of other games we've played. But yeah, the tactile feel of it is really appealing for some people, and it ends up being you creating a very pretty grid on your board, so it's very visually appealing. And it's very puzzly. If you like puzzles, you're kind of trying to figure out how best to put your pieces together in the puzzle. So that's one that we like a lot. And there's another version called, instead of creating the tiles, you're making stained glass. And this is the original we started with.
Yeah, there's another one. If you want to get your last one there. Was that it?
No, I did my 5.
Started? Okay, well, I guess that's it then. Yeah, there's a 3rd version of Azul that I've seen, but I don't know anything about it. But so that's it. There's 10 games. Don't go outside.
Yeah, so again, all of these are good. They're not real high competition if you're not one who's really competitive, but there's enough player interaction that you kind of feel like you're doing something with the family, but you're also kind of have your own goals that you're working toward.
All right. Anything else? Wash your hands.
If you have questions about any of these games,
oh yeah,
give us a holler.
Give us a holler. Okay.